Okay, this is a video about counterstrain points and a quick way to do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write anterior and posterior, and then the next thing I'm going to do is do my drawings. So first we're going to do a little square on top, and that will be the cervical spine, and then we're going to do one here. That will be the thoracics, and then we're going to do a rib like this. Not a rib, but that's a rib. This is the lumbars, and then we are going to do half of a heart for the pelvis region. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing over here. Put it on. Okay, I forgot to just do a little line like that. So the most important thing to remember is that anterior is almost always going to be flexion, and posterior is almost always going to be extension. So I'm just going to write these on the top and assume that they are there unless I say otherwise. So there's just kind of a pattern to memorize. So with flexion, what we're going to do is you're going to create kind of a 7 of A's like this, and then you're going to create a 7 of T's. So you do see how it's like kind of in a 7 like that. So you're going to also do a 7 of T's, and then you're going to fill in the opposite. So there should be a T there and an A there, all right? And so now if we just fill it in, it's side bend, rotate, side bend, rotate, side bend, rotate, side bend, rotate. So great, we have those. Now for the extension, it is always going to be SaRa. So I think about someone wearing like a jersey, and on the back it says SaRa. So, SaRa. And the next part is a little bit different, so I am going to write SaRa, but it's important to remember the first one is for the spinous process of the thoracic, so cervical, thoracics, lumbar, pelvis. Sorry, I should have labeled that. So for the spinous process, it's going to be A, and then for the transverse process, it's going to be T. So those are both for thoracic. And then the ribs for this one, they are SaRa as well, but they're kind of funky. So they're going to be flexed, not extended. So remember your ribs on the back are funky. And that F will remind you of the flexion. And there are no lumbars in the front technically, so we're not going to worry about that. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to draw your dots. So on the anterior pelvis, it's going to look like this. So dot right there. It's kind of going to make a C right there, one right there, right there, and one down there. It honestly kind of looks like a reverse question mark. So just kind of keep that in mind when you look at that. So you're just going to have to memorize the order of these. It's psoas, iliacus. This one is, sorry, it's kind of small, lower ilium. And I'm actually going to do it bigger down here so you can see it better. So, psoas, iliacus, lower ilium, pectineus, and then this is the lower ilium flare one, flare out. Okay. So remember anterior, we kind of have this question mark type thing going on here. So what we're going to do here is first we are going to label the weirdos. So the two weirdos that we have to remember first is the iliacus and the lower ilium flare out. So these two, again, you're just going to have to remember this, is A, B, E, R, and this one is A, whoa. A, B, E, R. Okay, now if we go up one, the pectineus is literally the opposite. So it is A, D, I, R. And then if we go up, remember it's always flexion. So here we have the lower ilium is just flexion, and the psoas is flexion and side bend toward. And I just think of this as, when someone has a psoas abscess, they just want to bring everything toward themselves because it makes them feel better when their psoas is hurting. They pull their knees up and in. So flex, side bend toward. Now on the pelvic pelvis on the back, same thing, just going to do it a little bit bigger so you guys can see better. So we have ... 3, 4 piriformis. And so this is going to be the upper pole, and this is going to be the lower pole. So again, we have the same weirdo. So it's kind of helpful to remember the weirdos. So remember our weirdos here, or this one, and this one. So 3 and 4. And if we just come right around to the bottom, the piriformis is also a weirdo. And if we go up one, same as over here, this one is going to be a DIR. And the lower pole is extra weird. It's getting freaky going low under the pole, so it is F as well. And the upper pole is just extension. Alrighty, so now we're going to go through and label the weird ones. So first what I'm going to do, so this is general rule of thumb. Now I'm going to do the exceptions. So for anterior cervical, first we have, again, this is just going to something you have to remember, AC1 and AC7. And then it helps if you just go down and you go AT1, and then you do all of the numbers in between right here. So AT2 to 6, okay? So then what you have to remember here is rats. So RATS. And so you have to remember these are the difference. So this one, it is only this, and this one, it is side bend toward, rotate away. So rats is how you remember that one. And then for this one, all you have to remember is flexion. Just flexion all by itself, none of that garb. Okay, then if we come over here to the posterior side, for the cervicals, we have two weirds. It's PC1 and PC3, and those are extension only. And I kind of remember that it's 3 because it looks like an E backwards, so that's how you can remember that one. Nothing weird going on here. Is you just got to remember that the transverse process, our rotate toward, the T goes together. And the only weird one for the ribs is PR1, and PR1 is ESART. So selfishly, I remember this as Emma Sellner's art. Alrighty, and that is all the Counterstrain points.